There's 4 pillars that determine how long it will take someone to recover from C-PTSD and become a more secure-leaning individual. And these 4 pillars are resources and accessibility, an internal drive for change, your relationship environments, and the skill of the mental health professionals that you are dealing with. So if we're talking resources and accessibility, there are a few things that feed into this. So firstly, if you're a child or a young adult and you need mental health support, but your parents or caregivers are not enabling you to access that because in some instances, they may be the perpetrators of the abuse, or they just, for their own mental health reasons, don't believe in therapy. Or if you're in an adult relationship where you're being financially controlled, you may not have financial resources available to you because of your abuser to engage in mental health services and support. And there's a multitude of complexities that exist in those situations as well, not just the financial control. And then there's just financial accessibility in general. Not everyone has the financial resources to access mental health support. And those that have free services or discounted services, often the waiting lists for those services are extraordinarily high. Secondly, the internal drive for change. We can only change and heal when we are ready, willing, and able to do it. So someone may be very obviously in need of mental health support, and they may be a very big driver of the dysfunction in their life. But if they have not recognized that there is something within them that may need attention, that may need change, there is no hope in hell that they are going to take the steps. You can tell someone until you are blue in the face that they need help, they need to show up differently. But until that switch flicks in their brain, they're not going to pursue helping themselves by accessing mental health support or even just engaging in any behaviors that are going to start to facilitate the change that they need. And thirdly, this is where complex C-PTSD has a multitude of barriers because it is complex, and often it is the familial and the community ecosystems that we may have existed in when we were children, young adults, and these can persist into adulthood, that are just ecosystems of phenomenally unhealthy people, unhealthy behaviors, and you cannot heal in an environment that has continued to make you sick. So you on your own may realize that there's many unhealthy things that you are doing, that you're engaging in, that you need to change. But if you are continuing to feed into your family dynamic, your friend dynamic, all of these close social circles that may be incredibly unhealthy, that can very much slow down or even prevent any healing to occur. So this is why you find so many people when they are starting their healing journey and they're identifying other relationships that they have in their life that are quite unhealthy, that they withdraw, they limit access. And some people even just estrange themselves completely and cut people off because, again, you cannot heal in environments that continue to make you sick. And lastly, this is where so many of you, I'm sure, can relate. It relies on the skill set of the mental health professional that you are working with. And this is what I found really prolonged so much of my healing, because you may come across a mental health professional that, yes, they have skill in one area, but what you actually need help in is a completely different wheelhouse, and they do not have the skills for that. So if you've got a clinician who they either don't have the skill set, it's a different area to what they're used to working in, that in itself creates a huge barrier to healing and moving forward. So once you factor all of these elements in, this is why so many people who are recovering from C-PTSD, from trauma, from complex insecure attachment presentations, anxious, fearful avoidant, dismissive avoidant, why it can take so long to heal. It's not a failure of the person if they are ready, willing, and able. There are so many factors that influence how long healing will take. And one of the most common things that I find with my coaching clients who, when I'm working adjacent to their mental health professional, so I may be working in a coaching sense, and then the individuals I'm working with, they may also be seeing a psychologist or a counsellor, because we have very different wheelhouses and lanes that we work in. So I work more in the now, the behavioural awareness, and what we might be looking at doing moving forward, and then their counsellor or psychologist might be unpacking some of their past traumas and some of more of those complex mental health elements. So it actually works really well, sort of complementing the skills.